Have you heard about the latest and greatest technology being built around the DFW area? Generation Race Cars and JL Racing, located in Springtown, Texas, are now offering top-of-the-line, state-of-the-art Southern Sport mods and limited modifieds. Generation Race Cars and JL Racing can provide new cars, turnkey, complete bodies, shock revalving, and chassis updates, along with providing trackside setup guidance and a whole lot more. If you're looking at competing at a whole new level, call 817-528-2947 and ask for Justin today. You can contact them through the JL Racing Facebook page to learn more about Generation Race Cars. You put a ton of effort into your race program. Now take it to victory lane with GRC.
This is the Revved Up Sports Show with Bobby Chaffee.
We do have this nice little format that we try to follow every week. We don't usually follow it.
And Rodney Rodriguez.
Entertain me. Tell me something. I need to know something other than what I'm seeing.
Y'all ready? Here we go. Here's Bobby and Rodney.
Ooh, man, it is raining like a sumbitch up here at the Revved Up Sports Show studios. And Round Rock, thank you all for checking in and being a part of our show. We're excited to have you aboard, and hopefully you're getting some of that much-needed rain too. I mean, I know it's like Bobby, with when it comes to racers, it's like never say the R word. I'll tell you one thing. We don't. Sorry about that.
Well, it ain't race day.
That's
We can say the R word on a non-race day.
That's right, all the time. We can say that all the time, and man, much needed. The good thing is we got all the weekend stuff out of the way. Everybody's got their races in, so we're totally good to go. So that is the beautiful thing about it. Welcome into the Revved Up Sports Show. Hope you and yours are doing well. Speaking of rain, before we dive into all the fun stuff, we got to think about our friends up in Dallas. I mean, we know we got a lot of folks up there in the DFW Metroplex general vicinity, as we talk about all the time. And man, they have just gotten hammered, absolutely hammered here in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, they really have been. We were watching some of the discussion there on some of the newscasts. We were watching with the weather update here in the Central Texas area, and it sounded like they got a month's worth of rain in 24 hours.
Yeah,
so that's not good for them down there.
Really, really fast. And whole thing is, I mean, you guys need to be smart when you're out and about in this stuff, because you can't, don't do anything stupid, because despite the fact, I mean, I know we get all twisted up when it comes to racing stuff. We do all care about each other, and we want to see you at a racetrack. And thinking about all those great folks, our friends up there in DFW and the Metroplex that may be affected and stuck in this mess. So, Bobby, your weekend out at Texana, it looked like another good weekend for Owen and you guys out there. Really good stuff. Efficient program, it looked like.
It was. There was just enough car count to have some really good racing. Would have been nice to see a few more fans out there. But the one thing that we've learned about these end of August races or middle of August races is that they're so inconsistent for the exact same reason, because you have families that don't come out because it's right before school starts and they want to get their last minute vacation in, right? But then you have the exact same reason that families want to come out to the races, because school's about to start and they want to get their last big vacation up and out of the way. So, it could have been a little more fan interaction there. But I mean, the fans that were there were energetic. We had a good show. Good to see Racer Tim's family there. With the as hard as that may be or was for them. So. Lots of cool interaction with the fans. So looking forward to it. Next race, the Sunday of Labor Day. So get some college football in on Saturday along with the race ranch, and then going down there for Sunday.
Yeah, and a good night, a good night it looked like at I-37 as well, as they get an efficient night in. You've got Cotton Bowl Speedway coming up this weekend. I think it's the final night of the Summer Showdown Series, as they will finish that off there with their big summer extravaganza. I don't think it's going to feel like summer for them, but I'm just glad that they're able to get all of that done. And then, of course, the weekly stuff. I mean, you got Kennedale, you got 105, you got Devil's Bowl, all of these racetracks. Heart of Texas Speedway will look to finish off their championship night. I was actually really excited to be back out at Hot Speedway this past Friday night, and man, what a show that was. But man, I tell you, receding hairline thing. It drives
It's
me
the
crazy.
new lights, man.
I got to go to wearing a cap. This show tonight, we've got coming up here in just about, I would say, in about 9 minutes. DJ Shaw is going to jump on, and that's another big thanks to Phil Whipple that has lined that up for us. Oxford 250 coming up this weekend, and that what can you say about that? That all you have to say is Oxford 250, and that's massive.
That's the big one, especially up in those neck of the woods. That's the one. I mean, when you have guys, the Southern Invaders trying to go up there and win the big one up there. Bubba Pollard's actually done it. That year he did the full U.S. tour and then into Canada. Got the Canadian win, although it was 50,000 Canadian dollars. Apparently that didn't, didn't exchange well when it came through. So they've got that coming up this weekend. So it's I guess it is this weekend, right?
Yeah,
this upcoming weekend is Oxford 250.
Coming
so
up.
yeah, so it's those guys and gals up there getting ready.
Yep. Gulf Coast Racing Series fires off at Mobile this weekend as well. You'll have that. We'll talk more about that in detail a little bit later on. Then later in the show at 7:20, we talked to Shy Mojo. Joseph Ponton Jr. will jump on and we'll talk with him. Dude's a wheelman, and I'm looking forward to talking to him. Yeah, that's going to be a great conversation right there.
You know, his family's from Hawaii.
Yes, sir. I do know that. I do know that. That's. Wonder if they could get us a trip down there cheaper than what it costs to go there.
I don't know. I just came from Hawaii and it was expensive. I don't know how it gets any cheaper. We went the cheap route too.
I went there a long time ago and it was a pretty penny. Before we get into all of that, I do want to touch, I know that we both shared this thing out, this Friendship Motor Speedway thing.
It's a long post, but it's a really good post. Very truthful.
And we're keeping this damn thing up because we're in the downtime. We're going to hammer this thing out. And I mean, you people, don't sit here and say that we're going to be negative. We're only pointing out what what was posted here because we see it at tracks all around the country. All
over. It's the exact same, and we've felt it ourselves. That's why it's part of the reason we don't wear. Part of the reason we don't wear, or at least part of the reason I don't have a radio, because I don't want people yelling at me for a call they don't like when I have nothing to do with it.
First and foremost, first thing that I take when I go and I read the Cliff Notes version of this thing. When we purchased Friendship last year, we had high expectations for ourselves to not only clean up the facility, but to also the reputation of the racetrack. Number one, you're in an uphill battle.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, just from reading that. So they did what they did. Here we go, guys. Here we go. This is super important. And we'll probably lose people when we start talking about this, but you all need to pay attention to this because you see it week after week. I don't give a rat's ass where you go. When a track worker, track owner, or law enforcement, crying out loud, asks you to move away from a certain area, it is for your own, the racers, and the track's protection.
Heard that. That been needed to be in place at another track, and we probably may still be racing there.
Moment of silence. I drove by there yesterday on the way to see Motley Crue, Def
It's
Leppard.
gone. Well, actually, they're building something back there now.
They're doing something. I think they're digging up all that gravel and stuff that's there, and they're really going to make some money. But yeah, so besides the fact that we don't want to see anyone hurt, we don't want our insurance premiums to increase since we paid nearly $20,000 for insurance this past year.
20,000 a year. That's not that's not
That's
cheap.
a good deal.
That's actually not bad. I don't know how good a coverage it is, but 20K is actually not all that bad.
If a track's insurance premiums go up, the cost is going to be passed on in higher admission prices or reduced purse.
Or both.
I don't understand why the tracks can't succeed.
Common business sense a lot of times.
This is in North Carolina, guys. This is in a state that is just riddled with very successful racetracks that do a lot of really, really good things. And where I go in here and read all this, they never talk about competition. They are very clear in the first part of this that they're not concerned about the tire shortage that is affecting every racetrack. I can tell you at Mobile, we got our tire shipment, and it's everything that, I mean, I hope folks are ready to have unbalanced tires. It's not the Harry, what was that? Harry Hog. It's not the Harry Hog tires that you're going to get in Mobile because they are way small. But that's all that we have, and that's all that's available.
That's all that's out there. That's all that's out there, right? The only place that's got tires in excess right now is the Snowball Derby. That's because they're baking them, and they're putting them away. I'm sure they do a batch of Snowball Derby tires a week.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the one racetrack. That's the one track that doesn't need to run out of tires for a tire shortage. I think they'll end up doing a practice limitation on tires, which I think is a really smart thing anyway. But yeah, they definitely. I don't see the Snowball Derby running out of tires.
That's right. If you can't follow a request by an official to move, it's simple. Stay at home.
I love that part in there.
And it's in there a lot. I mean, it's in there a lot.
You don't like it? Stay at home.
You never want to run business away, but I mean, it's pretty point blank, and I'm going to end up reciting this whole thing. Never tell someone that asked you to stop sitting on the pit wall during hot laps that you don't have to because they are just, capitalized, a track worker.
Yeah. If that track worker turns out to be the owner, then you look like an asshole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of validity to this, and it is. I mean, we see this all across. Nobody is bigger than the sport, and I think that's really what this whole thing encompasses. Is that look, we are afforded the opportunity to do really, really fun things. Whether it be being a. I mean, even working on a pit crew, whether you want to call it whatever you want to call it. I was talking to somebody a few days back, and they're like, so for you local guys, if you're on a pit crew, that's not really a big deal, is it? I'm like, no, it actually is. Because you get to be in the pits. You get to see everything that's happening. You get to see all the behind the scenes, and you are privileged to get to do that. Someone is trusting you to work on their shit because it's like, okay, if I ask somebody to go torque my wheels, they're going to torque my wheels, and then my fat ass is getting in that car. And
there's a level of trust there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's really what this whole thing comes down to. And man, we're 2 minutes out from when DJ's about to call, and the next one is, man, so powerful.
Just hit it.
All right. Track owners and promoters cannot predict the weather any better than you can. We got radar. Everybody has radar.
Everybody's got a pocket full of radar.
Everybody's got radar on their phone. And it's always, I know that we're all optimistic, but when people come up and they're like, I'm like, I don't think we're going to get to race. No, look at my radar. I'm like, hit future.
Yeah.
Hit future. Yeah. They are looking at the same forecast on their phones as you are. And they change that fast.
Actually, faster than that.
I was dead certain that I would be wasting gas driving to Elmont last Friday for Heart of Texas. I messaged Mike McCarthy 3 times. Hey, can you let me know what's going on? He's like, we're racing. I messaged Selby Holder. Can you let me know what's going on? We're racing. I drove down there, rained on me 10 miles this side of Waco, clear. Never had a problem.
I remember that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
How did it affect the fan count?
No, it wasn't bad at all. I mean, the people believed. They were like, okay, if they're gonna run, we're showing up, and they did. So that's great.
Nice.
Yeah. Where is the rest of this? Whether you are a fan or racer, or you don't want to risk your time or money on a possible rainout, it's simple.
Stay at home.
Just stay at home. Turn on Racing America, Flow Sports, Race on Texas. It's right there. For an open practice, if you can't risk $100 and it starts raining an hour into practice, why do you expect the track owner to risk a couple of $1,000s for track prep and worker pay?
Yep. Stay at home.
It's big stuff. We'll come back to this. But let's kind of pull this in. I mean, this wasn't a whole thing about being negative, but people are still on. So I guess maybe we struck a nerve right here.
Either that or DJ Shaw's pretty popular.
Yeah, and he's due here. He's due here in just a sec. For fans, if you can't afford the admission price or don't want to wear an armband on your wrist, it's simple.
Stay at home.
Right.
Common theme there.
Yeah. It's been unbelievable, the abuse directed at track staff for asking someone to take the armband out of their pocket and put it on their arm. I'm the hairiest guy of them all, guys. Just put the damn thing on. And I mean, I know we had at Waco the other night because we were doing our meet and greet on the racetrack, and we had a bunch of fans out on the track and all the different things that we were doing. And Selby comes over and he's like, be sure and say over the PA that people without an armband, you know where you need to go. The stands, where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
Very valid. And when you go down there, I don't know if it says this, but it's very valid. But when you go down there and get run over without an armband, we're done.
It's much harder to cover you on insurance when you don't have the release form that's signed at the pit gate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are by the way of CTS at that point, gone, flattened out, just what we're talking about. As a racer, if you don't want to complete paperwork that the IRS and the track require, it's simple. Stay home. In 7 races, that track paid out $225,320 to the driver. If the track owner has to show this amount as a profit instead of the expense, it actually, why would they stay in business?
I mean, they wouldn't.
That's right.
I mean, then they'd be busted for tax fraud, and you don't want that either.
That's right. That's right. I jokingly say all the time on the PA when we do a 50-50 at whatever track that I'm working at, that 50-50 is cold, hard, unreportable cash. And that's true for y'all in the stands. But when you start manipulating all of this stuff, and that's why it's so important, I think, for racers to really structure your racing thing as a business. I mean, because seriously, you are. I mean, because you've gotten people that are giving you money to go do stuff, and you have to have a trail for that because I mean, it can be found out if you're doing it the wrong way,
and it will be found out.
Absolutely.
Plus, think all the write-offs you get if you run it like a business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree. All right, you'll appreciate this one. At this point, I don't know where DJ Shaw is, but you'll appreciate this one. If you think the racetrack concession food is too high at a racetrack, it's simple. Stay at home. Maybe the food is a bit higher because the track has money invested in costly equipment that gets used a few times a month, or they had to throw out food because of a rainout.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. $3 for a hot dog isn't that bad. I was at the Motley Crue thing last night that I'm wearing the shirt here. Lines were stupid. 16-ounce Bud Lights, $11.91.
No, it's weird they're charging tax now.
Yeah.
They did that at Coke Fest, too. I was surprised they were starting to charge tax.
Hey, don't beat the company up.
I'm not beating them up. I was just surprised I had to pay tax.
Yeah, no, and that's part of it. I mean, that's just something else to think about right there. When it comes to the racetrack, I mean, now you have to do that stuff right there. But
they made my $10 lemonade like $12.
Yeah, no, it's crazy that now is factored in. It also could be higher because they spend over 14 hours picking up trash from a race night, despite the 73 trash cans that have been set out before a race. And that's a big one. This is all something I know at all of the tracks that I go to. I mean, I do. In part of the pre-race thing, it's like, look, these folks have come out and they've put you receptacles out here for you to go. Hey, the years at Speedorama and Longhorn out there, man, I was the worst one. Into the beer, drink it, crush it, throw it under the stands.
Yep.
And it was one of those things that we talk about when we started seeing life on the other side of the wall, to where it's like somebody's got to go pick up those damn beer cans that I'm throwing down there.
Yep.
Usually
it's some little kid that had to.
You sound like that guy in Storage Wars.
I hadn't seen Storage Wars forever.
It's that guy that says, "Yep."
Oh, like the auctioneer type of deal.
Yeah. And that's a big deal. Here's another big one on our tutorial 101 that we're having tonight. A racetrack isn't making money off of your McDonald's trash or the 32 Busch Light empties. Did I go to this track?
Mm-hmm.
That you left in the grandstands, but those sure cost the track money in labor and dumpster fees.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, guys. This is. I mean, what we're talking about right here is that you really have to go back. You have a lot of folks across the country, but we're going to hone in right here in Texas. You've got, I mean, with Owen running the 2 racetracks, with Marianne and her racetrack, and with 37 and just everything that's up in DFW. You've got a lot of folks that are really in what what you really want to think about it, and kind of the gist of this is that you have promoters that are dipping into their own tab. I mean, there's not a budget right here for these folks. I mean, maybe some people have a budget, and I want to go to Cord Beard right here. It's thinking about somebody that these folks are all doing this with their money, and maybe they have it invested. Maybe they're trying to put it here, to move it there, or whatever they're doing. They're doing all this on their own for all of us, and yet we seem to miss all this easy shit. This is all. I mean, this is really easy to comprehend on, I think.
But a lot of people don't pay attention to all the little stuff that adds up to turn into be big stuff. Sure, it's okay if you throw the trash on the ground, so they got to pay somebody to come pick it up. Then if you you bring in your own food, that's money that the concession stand doesn't make. You know, if you come in and you have what is it? You bringing in your own beer. You know, that's the beer licenses are expensive. That's why you see some tracks that have it and some tracks that don't, because beer licenses are expensive. If you don't think they're hard to get too. If you don't think about either one of those, then go talk to a track promoter that's got a beer license and see how hard that is to do.
I can tell you that from a first-hand basis, because I know at Mobile, they've been working for a year and a half to try to get the beer garden open back up over there, which was one of the staples there at Mobile for a very, very long time. And this is in Mobile. I mean, I know how hard it is in Texas. This was in Alabama, where they're going in here to do this stuff, and they're going to check the background on your ass. They're going to do all of this stuff to make sure that you are legit to do this. And this that brings up a whole different situation to where it's like, okay, well, you're going to do this to get a beer license, to do whatever you want to do, and there's people doing whatever. But that's how hard it is. That is how hard it is for this to happen. So there's a lot to it.
There's like somebody had mentioned there at Texana, it's okay to throw the beer cans on the ground because you've got the kids that are able to come through and pick up the kids are able to come through and pick up the beer cans, right? And they have this little recycle bin that they have right there that they come through and try to toss it in there.
Try to throw it in, yeah.
Try to throw it in. I mean, you've seen it. I mean, at the beginning of the year, that thing is empty. At the end of the year, that thing's full.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's a good way to possibly make that work. I mean, maybe that's something that and I like that idea to do all that. So maybe that's something. I mean, maybe that's a way to do it. But I don't know. It's we'll go back to this. We're going back to this because that is that's a hot topic, and we'll dive back in and really begin to dig into that, because that's the stuff that the promoters are having to mess around with. But what we're going to do now, I think we finally got it figured out. I think we are about to go up north. We got a very, very long phone cord and a very slow connection that we are trying to work with, I think. So stand by for live radio, live TV, whatever you want to call it. I think we are about to jump on the hotline right now. We got a phone ringing. We got a line happening. So I think we're in a good spot right there. Yeah, and we missed him. That's all right. That's all right. We'll talk to DJ Shaw hopefully a little bit later on in the show. But so some of the observations that I'm getting from this point of the season in Texas, because we go back to we joke around all the time about this is when we start going to the big money part of the year, and I'm really starting to see, like with the regular car counts, I'm starting to see those go down, and I think that's where folks are okay. Let's get in line. Let's start getting ready to run the big money stuff. And that's what I truly believe is about to happen.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, obviously it's your car. You were able to pick and choose where you want to run, how many races you want to run, all that good stuff. The problem is what you see is that car counts have a tendency to dwindle down towards the end of the season.
Yep.
From various reasons. That's when the kids start going. We talked about already. It's when the kids start going back to school. They got a choice between buying racing stuff and buying school supplies. A lot of times, it's split 50-50. Half the time the racers are going to, wait for the track to do a back-to-school night to get all the school supplies and buy more racing parts, which is fine, too. That's okay. That's what those little fundraisers are for.
Tax-free weekend.
Yeah. My sanity's worth more than 8 cents on the dollar.
You ain't never lie.
But it becomes a crucial point, because what you hate to see is you see the guys that don't run a lot towards the end of the year, and then they go in there and they just get behind the 8 ball during some of these big money shows.
Yeah.
because they haven't run in 3 or 4 months. You know, for you know, from back in the day, if you're not racing, you're falling behind. Like, they hear that all the time for the big cup stuff, but it really is the truth. I mean, you know, if you're not racing and being there every week, you're going to fall a little bit behind. The ones that are able to show up and win and kick ass after being gone for a week or two, that's pretty special. You need to enjoy those. But as far as the end of the year stuff, yeah, it's great that the car count increases, but the problem is you don't want a bunch of squirrels coming out either and ruining your damn show.
Yeah, I never realized it as a kid, you know, in my 20s and so forth, when my dad used to say when we'd have to miss a race, he would say, "We're making money tonight. We're making money, son, because we are not spending money." And that's huge. I mean, I see that now. I totally
makes
see
sense,
that
yeah.
now. I totally see that now. All right, let's go to the hotline. Presented by Computer Age Automotive. We are on the cusp of the Oxford 250. My goodness, how huge is that? We'll dig into that, but right now we are talking to the man from Center Conway, New Hampshire, our friend, Mr. DJ Shaw. How we doing, DJ?
Great. How are you guys?
Man, we're doing well. We're doing well. Thank you for taking the time, sir, and being a part of our show down here in a very wet Texas for a change. So, your thoughts there? I mean, we've got all the races, you know, down south, but here we are. We're right on the eve of what is probably, you know, one of the biggest short track races in the country. It's got to be pretty exciting up there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it this year. I feel like we're finally have some forward momentum going into Oxford, and that's not something we always have. So I'm definitely looking forward to it more this year than ever.
Absolutely.
So DJ, in terms of the Oxford 250, obviously up there it is gold, right? It's the Super Bowl of short track stock car racing. Have you noticed over the years how much more pub it's getting? I mean, right now you're talking to a pair of dudes from Texas because we're interested in the Oxford 250. But is it because of the streaming stuff? More people are becoming more socially aware of the race, or is it just becoming that much bigger that it's able to kind of break out of the mold from the Northeast up there?
Well, it seems like, you know, Oxford in general for the past races is thriving car count wise, and it just seems like the 250 grows every year, and you know it's starting to gain more national attention from, you know, Bubba Pollard's been coming, Nassie came last year. Just there was a long stretch there. It was just New England guys and a few Canadians, and you know now it's starting to reach out and get some national attention again, and it's good to see.
Yeah, absolutely, and much deserved, I think, is the thing with that. So let's talk about your start. I mean, it was karts, and then you just started right there, and we see that so often right now with a lot of youngsters. I mean, you start in the karts and then just go right up the hill. Take us through that whole chronology of how you got to this spot right now.
Well, we started in karts. I started kind of late. I wasn't really too interested in it for a long time. Dad raced, and I just kind of went along and watched him and went with them. And just, you know, he bought me a kart, and you know, it sat for a year or two, and I decided that I was ready to try it around 12. And we got a family friend of ours, Rick Williams, to help us get it together, and he took care of it for me. And after that, we've raced about every weekend since, I think.
I love that.
It's funny how that always starts out that way, right? It's just going to start out for something little, and then the fire goes from a little birthday cake candle all the way to a forest fire, and you can't stop, right? Every time you try to stop, you get deeper in than you were before. But let's talk about your dad for a quick minute. You've got some great stats and stuff that we'll get to here in a minute, but talk about your dad. I mean, he was a badass back in the Busch North days. Even we knew that from watching the old Nashville Network was when they would do those special Busch North races around Loudon and some of those other races. That was the good days of that tour back then, before it became the old K&N series and everybody kind of ran down south.
Yeah, he had a lot of success and built his own cars and made a good living out of that series, and it was a lot of fun. You know, even that, you know, I remember that fondly, and you know, he was racing against guys like Truex Jr. and a lot of those guys that went on to bigger and better things and made it on talent, you know, and it kind of, by the time I got around to the K&N thing, it wasn't so much talent as it was, you know, you have to have the talent, but you had to have the funding too. So it wasn't the blue collar guys making it anymore. And, you know, I'm glad I get to be a witness to that era of racing and get to see him. You know, he was right there and had some good opportunities down south, and you know, had a couple of things gone different, he may have been a professional driver for a long time, but just things brought us back home, and you know, I think he's proud of his career, and definitely wish I could have made the same. You know, he made it further than I ever will, so you know, can't hang your head on that, and it's you know, proud of that.
Well, I mean, let's talk about that right there. I mean, 5 past North championships. I mean, that right there. I mean, that achievement right there. I mean, when you want to talk about hanging your hat on something, to win a championship in a series is anything. I mean, in anything is quite the achievement. But 5 of those, man, what a resume, dude. That is so amazing.
3 in a row too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we definitely had a good run there. Once we won the first one, we kind of clicked them off at least every other year for a minute, and then you know, had a good stretch there a couple of years ago. But you know, we've missed a race this year. We missed a couple of races last year, so you know, next year if everything works out, hopefully we can go for another one.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that tour up there. In terms of how we've talked to a couple other, as we say, our friendly northern friends. And they talk about how the rules package for both the past tour and especially the ACT tour have been one where it puts racers' pocketbooks first, which is something that you don't normally see anywhere else. But I think that leads to the success of that series because you guys are very conscious budget wise up there, and I think the series helps do that.
Yeah, I mean they do a really good job of making a place for everyone. You know, you know, it's still a super late model tour, and you can run, you know, kind of plethora of built engine options, but they've made it so the crate is a viable option and the most popular option, you know, pretty much for everybody that runs up here. So you know, it doesn't eliminate anybody, and it, you know, it makes an easy, nice, even playing field for everybody. And you know, I think that's part of why the 250's grown to the success it has too, is, you know, the rules have stayed consistent and open for any region to come give it a shot.
Yeah, that's right. And DJ, one of the things that we have talked to so many guys up north about, and again, we're south, so no slight at our folks, but I mean, you guys racing in the middle of the week and all the stuff that you guys do, whether it be at Slinger, Oxford, wherever it is, the amount of respect that you all seem to have for each other. It's you're not doing some of the shenanigans that we see around the country. I mean, you guys seem to genuinely respect each other on the racetrack when you're out there in the heat of the battle.
Yeah, I mean, PASS is a good group of guys, and it has a lot of respect for one another. And you know, we all get aggressive with each other at certain times, but it's not like there's not a lot of wrecking for the win in the last lap type of deals like you see, you know, in kind of the southern late models and limited late model type of thing. Is, you know, the younger kids getting a shot, or just kind of the win at all costs mentality. And you know, sometimes we all do things we're not necessarily proud of, but you know, it's not to that extent. You know, you never just kind of blatantly take somebody out for a win, but you know, it's a good group, and the veterans respect each other, and they kind of, you know, they get the rookies to earn the respect, and you know, and they get there quickly. So it's been a good group the last, you know, 10, 12 years or so that I've been a part of it, and it just, hopefully it keeps growing.
I think we have to clip that sound right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a fabricator though, don't you love it? I mean, in a pro late model race, when you watch it, if you guys had a shop down south watching a pro late model race with all them kids tearing up them cars, wouldn't that make you smile ear to ear?
Well, yeah. I mean, we still have those nights, unfortunately, but you know, we've been busy enough in the shop that, you know, we pray for a lot of weeks. We're praying for them to go clean. So
yeah,
you know, we start on Thursday nights with Thunder Road. We've got a good count of cars up there, and we just, you know, we get on flow and watch that deal, and just hope we don't get backed up before the weekend even starts.
Yeah. So DJ, I think one of the coolest things because we see it. I mean, we see it all across the country. You mentioned the K&N and coming back home. I mean, all of that. I mean, you hit that upper echelon right there. You know whatever you want to say, but man, to come back home and just be so comfortable in what you're doing and just enjoying it. Is it like a sigh of relief? Where yes, I mean everybody wants to be a cup driver, but man, it really is okay to just get out there and be home and be with your people and just be all about what this sport really is all about: family, friends, community, and just having a great time.
Yeah, I mean, it just, I got my shot at the K&N deal, and I'm very fortunate for it, and proud to have done that. And we had some good runs mixed in with some not so good ones, and all in all, I think it made me a better driver.
Yeah.
But I definitely think we were spending way more than we could afford to, and it just wasn't even close to what you needed to compete consistently.
Yeah.
And the first year we ran, I was proud of what we did, and we took a lot of steps to get better, and it just didn't work out, and it faded away for us. But we kind of looked at each other. We lost the car at Loudon late in the year, that second year, and we just kind of collectively said, let's go back to pass, and
sure,
we can afford to run up front. We can get better. We can do our own fabrication and just keep things rolling on our own, and it's just been a lot of fun since then. And it just it's hard when you're 20. You don't want to admit that you're a lifetime super late model regional driver. You're not going any further than that, but there's no shame in that, I guess. As I get older and more mature, that's I'm proud of what I am as a driver, and I'm proud of the success we've had as a team and a company and everything. So
yes, sir.
You don't ever say you give up on the dream. Obviously I'd take a ride tomorrow if it came my way, but I know it's not coming, and I'm okay with that. I'm worried about winning the Oxford 250.
So let's talk about the Oxford 250. What, in preparation wise, is it one of those races where you double, triple, quadruple check every nut and bolt on that car all week? I mean, is there such a thing as over preparing for a big race like the Oxford 250?
I would say we over prepare for sure. Just and some days it doesn't look like that. Everything could go wrong from Friday on, but we definitely, it's a little less than twice the laps, but it's just for the weekend. It's it's 5 times the wheels and the fuel cans for the pit stop, and just everything you have to remember and prepare for, and all the stuff you only use once a year, you have to have ready, and don't forget it, and make sure you have enough people everybody has a job, and all the tires get changed, and there's just a lot of details to check off that we're not used to, and it just it's nerve-wracking, but that's the fun of it too. It's a big deal, and everybody treats it like a big deal. Everybody from first to 45th goes there with the goal to win, and it's definitely become it's always been a competitive race, but I think it just keeps getting more and more competitive and top talent, and just happy to be a part of it.
Got to ask you, man. So this coming up for this 49th rendition of the Oxford 250, your 200th career pass start coming up. I mean, how cool is it going to be if you can put the icing on the cake, put the bun in the oven, all the stupid cliches that I can come up with out of my ass right now? How cool is it going to be if you're able to put it together this weekend and do it on that 200 start, man?
It would be pretty incredible, really. Just me, Dad, Andy, all of us Shaws we've all got top threes and never sealed the deal in this thing. And, to be close, we've all been close and just never done it. And to do it in any start would just be unreal. It's like the Daytona 500 for Earnhardt. It seems like we've found more ways to lose that thing than you can count. But, he got it done. So hopefully I'm the Shaw that can do the same.
Oh, dude, man, I hope so. We're going to be cheering you on, man. Good luck, dude, and thanks for taking the time on what I'm sure is a busy race week for you guys. And here's the deal. So if you win, if you win, you have to come back Monday, and we'll do this again and talk about how you pulled it off.
Absolutely. I would love to do that. I hope I earn that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Looking forward to it, man. Go get it, dude, and we're proud of you down here, man.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the interview.
You bet. Take care.
Thank you.
You bet. Here's DJ Shaw. I love talking to all these guys. I mean, it's so cool. And thank you, Phil Whipple, for putting that together. I mean, Whipple Motorsports Media, one of our, mainstays right here with all of us. But these guys.
A valuable partner is Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil. Humble, these guys. Humble, just like Phil. I mean, it's so funny that we talk to all these guys, and they are all a lot like Phil. I mean, you just.
They don't talk as fast as Phil, though.
That's true. And they don't cuss quite as much as Phil. But so I had him on the Racing America the other day. He only cussed once.
Really? Well, that's not
He
bad.
only cussed once.
They don't care what you do over
Oh,
there.
no, they don't care what happens over there. But still, I'm like, I try to.
I mean, they won't put us on their airways, but they don't care what happens over there.
Yeah, absolutely. They ain't putting this shit show on there. But the thing is, where I'm so impressed with these guys is that, to me, it all goes back to, we're sitting here talking about all this promoter, stuff, but man, it just everything that they do down there or up there, it's over just
there, up there,
so amazing to see how all of this happens. It's all this build up. They do it in the middle of the week, and quite frankly, I'm jealous. I mean, it sucks to see what they do.
Well, I mean, it's a good problem to have up there for
yeah.
them for sure. But I don't even know if we're conditioned for it. Think about coming up.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Think about coming up here for Labor Day, right? We're gonna race like back-to-back days. We're gonna race on a Saturday night, and then you're gonna race on a Sunday. Now, granted, you'd be two different tracks, but at back-to-back days, like people are like, oh hell, I can't run back-to-back days. That's too much work. That's too much time. And these guys are running Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And that's not just for a week at Oxford to get prepared for the 250. I mean, that's part of the glory of winning Oxford is it's hell of a hard of a race to get into. But
Yeah.
they do that on a normal race week, running at CNOC or whatever that track is. If you catch Flow Racing, you can see racing there every single week. I mean, there's more. They have more Flow Racing stuff up there for their stuff than we do down here.
Yeah.
Their big races are on Racing America, but a lot of that stuff is on Flow Racing from the weekly tracks.
And I will say the one thing that is a little bit different about that, when I think about that, because I'll tell the wife, I'm like, man, North Carolina, they race all week, and Monday here, Tuesday there, Wednesday there, and all of this stuff. But that is kind of the difference if we think about it here in Texas. If we did have that opportunity, let's say that Cotton Bowl ran on Monday, South Texas ran on Tuesday, and then Kennedale was on Wednesday, and then maybe Waco on Thursday. That wouldn't be quite as bad. But then we would go to Texana on Friday.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of
miles, man. That's a lot of miles. That's where that is kind of different to where we're in a different spot. So, I do. A lot of times I'm like, man, those assholes race all the time. But I'm like, it's a little harder here, and I do get that.
I mean, we've seen it when USMTS did the kickoff show. They ran I-37, and they went and ran Corpus, and then they came and ran at Cotton Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen that done before, but that's with a lot of tracks working together trying to get that stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a challenge. I mean, it's hard to get races up here where they're not stacked on top of each other, much less trying to get everybody racing one night a week.
Mm-hmm.
Although I guess you see it with the Sniper Speed Tour.
Yeah,
the Stock Car Tour tries to do it.
Yeah,
but those guys aren't from here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And folks always say, World of Outlaws, they come in and they run a Texas tour. Well, they got a hell of a budget.
Yeah, they're ready for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they live that way. Before Shimo Joe jumps on, here's another point. If you can't use the restroom, did I read this one yet?
Mm-mm.
If you can't use the restroom without trying to tear something up, it's simple.
Stay at home.
We didn't paint the bathroom 3 times before the county health inspector came, just so you would have fresh spots to kick the walls with your dirty feet. The toilet paper we put in the restrooms wasn't put there so you could throw the whole roll in the toilet to clog it up. I know that happens.
It happens a lot.
I know that happens a lot.
Except at Marianne's place, because she has she's like Bucky. She's the Bucky's of racetracks.
She really is.
She has the cleanest restrooms of any racetrack.
And the whole thing is, Marianne has people monitoring the bathrooms.
She
Yeah.
does. She does.
For all you people that want to bitch about stuff at Cotton Bowl Speedway, I guarantee you, you are never going to go into a bathroom with shit up, at the top of the water flow there, or a tampon stuffed in the thing. I haven't been in those bathrooms. I'm assuming that doesn't happen, but that will never happen at the Cotton Bowl Speedway. I can promise you that.
Yeah, the Buc-ee's of bathrooms there at Cotton Bowl Speedway.
And yeah, that's
Feel
right.
free to use that, Aaron. Aaron Brungott, feel free to use that on the next promo flyer.
The thing is, I mean, even at raggedy ass septic tank Thunder Hill Raceway, you rarely had the shitters overflowing when Marianne was in charge.
Yeah, when she was in charge. Other times, not so much.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yes, very true, very true. Joseph Ponton Jr. is
Did you ever work on that again after you talked to me about that?
about what?
About having that one person on?
It's in the works.
Still?
That is going to be a doozy. You people don't want to miss that one.
That one's going to be fun.
You're going to have to circle that on your calendar with a Sharpie, or with a Sharpie. You are not going to want to miss that one.
Good.
That's going to be must-see TV. Monday Night Football, you won't care about that. The Oxford 250 could be on. You wouldn't want to miss that one.
Yeah, that would be fun if that one finally lined up.
You damn right. It's going to happen. It's going to happen right here on this program. Going back to the hotline, the Computer Age Automotive Hotline on the Revved Up Sports Show. And we were talking to the man right here out of Hockley, Texas. As he jumps on, we were actually looking to do this. We were looking to do this a couple of weeks ago. He was busy. We couldn't get it all put together. But you know what I like about this dude? He was consistent. He's like, we still good? I'm like, my man.
Well, I mean,
Checking in. Joseph Ponton Jr. on the hotline. How we doing, sir?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing well, man. Doing well. So where are you at this point? I know when we talked before, you were taking flights and doing all this different stuff. Where is my man Ponton tonight?
Yeah, I'm in Indiana currently.
Damn.
Just I'm actually trying to get back into IndyCar, which I will be here in October. But just out here visiting the girlfriend and also looking for a job opportunity as well.
Nice. I love it.
Nothing like thinking ahead on that deal. That's
right.
good. You can look for the job and bring the flowers back to the girlfriend at the same time. That's good advice right there. So let's talk about. Actually, the first thing I want to ask you is the history of the number, because I at one point had a race car called the High Five 2, and it was kind of a last minute decision to give the announcer, which was Rodney, something else to talk about.
He's like Joseph. Like that was High Five 2.
Yeah. So I just want to know the history of the number. How did you come up with your High Five?
Yeah, so my stock cars were number 5 originally, and my dad actually had a business called High Five Truck Repair, and so he came up with the idea of the High Five. But since we come from Hawaii, we can use the abbreviation of Hawaii as well. So
Perfect.
I love that, man. That is good.
That's really good insight for the next time we watch you race.
That is really good. So let's talk about all that. So when we talk about racers, I mean, I thought when I was racing way back when, Ponton, that I was special because I was part Hispanic, and there's no Hispanics around. But at that point, but like for you, I mean the Hawaii, I mean with the Hawaii background and all that, man, that's got to be pretty cool right there. You were in very distinct company, and I believe your grandmother is checking in from Hawaii on this program tonight.
Oh yeah, I'm sure my family's checking in. But no, it's there's a lot of Hawaii racers in California and Las Vegas and Arizona now, mainly in sprint cars. But yeah, I mean, being diverse is no different for me in racing. It's just racing, and we all love racing. So I don't think nationality should have anything to do with it. But
amen.
I'm proud to be a Hawaiian.
Love it, dude. I love that.
So you race all over there. I mean, you've raced a little. I've called a couple of victories for you at Texana. We've heard Milton and them call some victories for you up at Cotton Bowl.
I've called some. Yeah.
Yeah, Rodney's called a couple for you too. I mean, your program seems to be top notch. You're always a perennial contender when you show up at the racetrack. Do you have a specific track that you like more than the others, or are they all just fun for you because it's the next race?
Yeah, I do like a paperclip track more, just as a technical racing standpoint. But I do like Texana a little bit more, but I do love Cotton Bowl as well.
Yeah. So let's talk about the background. I mean, how'd you end up in one of these dirt cars? I mean, we hear different questions or backstories. Maybe it's carts. I mean, some folks go from asphalt to dirt. I mean, whatever it may be. How'd you end up in one of these, man? Because these cars are so damn cool to drive, lightning quick, and they just look like a handful of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Well, racing's been a part of my family for generations, back to my grandparents.
Love it.
But just watching my parents race as I grow up in Hawaii, and with tracks shutting down and everything. But
familiar. Yeah.
When I first raced a hobby stock when I was 13 in Arizona, and actually won a handful of races against some grown men. So, but that track shut down as well. So we took like a decade break of racing.
Wow.
Off of racing. As soon as we moved to Texas, we kind of decided that we really wanted to get back into racing again. And we actually attended some races in Cotton Bowl and 105, and just, getting a feel for what's out there and whatnot. And at the time, we loved the competition of the sport mod, and that's just what we decided to go with.
Yeah, great choice.
It's a fun class. I mean, you make it look fun.
Yeah,
so talk about, in terms of the development, you talked about racing in Arizona from Hawaii and all that stuff when you were younger. Did you find yourself having a lot of pushback from some of the older guys? I mean, when a young kid comes in and starts, beating them up and kicking their ass, they don't have a tendency to like that. What was the pushback like for you when that was happening when you were racing pretty young?
Yeah, I mean, of course people aren't going to say it to your face, but, there are some people that didn't like that, of course. But there was a lot of people that were very supportive of me, being a young kid coming up and actually showing some talent. So, just, you got to put the hecklers aside and just focus on what you want to do with your life and just race, man.
Yeah, yeah. So I have to ask you. So that I think I saw a picture somewhere when I was stalking you on Facebook before this. So your stock car, was that a Nova? Was that the good old Leaf Spring Nova that you got out there and raced and won some races with?
Yes, sir. I think it was a 75 or 77 hatchback Nova.
That's what that looked like. So do you recall, I mean, from those, because I raced for a lot of years and was able to jump back in and won at Texana. I think the last time you won at Texana, I was out there in one of the pure stocks. So about driving one of those, man, do you recall that kind of a different animal right there, wheeling one of those things around there?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I feel like it's more of a Cadillac compared to the sport mod. A lot more laid back and easier to drive.
Yeah, no doubt.
So what else you got on the agenda up there? I mean, obviously you talked about Indy cars. I mean, that's a big jump from going from a sport mod up to an Indy car. I mean, you looking at like an Indy Lights kind of deal, or are you looking at what are you looking at over there? Let's get some inside information from your trip up to Indiana.
No, so prior to actually making a full-time commitment in racing sport mods, I used to work for AJ Foy at an IndyCar team as a mechanic. And as I was doing my sport mod deal and everything, I got a lot of rings about coming back and working for them. So that's what I'm looking to do up here.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. So I'd love to ask you, I mean, we have a Saturday radio show in Austin. You just hit a nerve with me with IndyCar. Your thoughts on that series? I mean, I think that's a series where, man, there's so much potential right there with NASCAR is what it is. Formula One is what it is. But, man, I just love IndyCar. I've been an IndyCar fan forever. And I think that, man, it's on the verge of doing something really big.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's tons of talent in IndyCar. It's not like F1 where it's a development program. It's a lot of correlation between engineer and driver and sometimes strategy. But yeah, it definitely takes a wheelman to wheel one of those for sure.
So Joseph, in terms of the we know you love running the sport mod. I mean, did they give you any kind of backlash about wanting to run something else while being a mechanic, or is it one of those balancing situations like we know some of the stock car guys that work at that work for Hendrick Motorsports, but on the weekends they race at Caraway or race at Hickory or something like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of people are supportive in just the racing scene in general. You know, a lot of people from the asphalt scene don't really like dirt track guys, but
Yeah.
it's truly the grassroots of it all. So, I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's
Oh, I
very
know.
supportive of that.
Yeah, there's always that divide right there. Hey, I got to ask you, Joe. So, our good friend Rusty Cobb is asking, did you ever race at Manzanita? Just kind of out of curiosity. When I saw that pop up, I'm like, that's actually a good question.
No, I've only attended races there until they shut down.
No, okay, that's cool. I want to tell you, there's a lot of folks that are checking in on the chat on Facebook or YouTube, and they're talking about you guys just being one of the coolest groups that come out to the racetrack. Talk about that camaraderie. I mean, because that's really what this is all about. I mean, it's all about families and friends that race together. Obviously, when you're on the racetrack, it's heated. I mean, it's a battle. I mean, you get pissed off and stuff happens. But when it all comes down to it with Texas, I mean, it doesn't matter where. Short track racing across the country, that's what it is. We're a big-ass family. When we get out there and get to race, that's really the coolest part.
Absolutely, and it's family first, and racing is a family. It shouldn't be about just beating up the next person next to you, and it's like it's just about racing and having a good time. And I don't think people should get overheated about him bending up a fender or anything. It happens. It's racing. You're racing hard, but at the end of the day, you just gotta say sorry to one another, have a cold beer or something, and
yes, sir,
just hang out.
That's right.
What is it? What mahalo or aloha? I can't remember from. I drank a lot when I was in Hawaii. I can't remember the one for hello and goodbye. Right? I got them all backwards, but
yeah, that'd be aloha.
Yeah. Aloha. So do you have any desires to race anything other than a sport mod? I mean, with the big money that the factory stocks have, you guys got an eye on that, or maybe a big mod, or what else? You just want to stick with the sport mod?
As for now, like the end of the season, we'll just run the sport mod. When I move up to Indiana, I would love to get back into a mod. I actually did race a mod for half a season and didn't get much seat time. So I think being in a mod would be home for me up here. But for now, I'd just finish out the sport mod.
Mm-hmm. So I do want to ask you, so Shy Mo Joe, how was that derived? Where did that come from? I mean, obviously the Joe part I figured out, but so how did all that come about? Because I love that handle. That's a damn good CB radio handle right there, my friend.
Yeah. So my mother's name is Cheyenne, and I'm junior to my father Joseph. So they used to call me Mojo.
Nice.
And just a cohesiveness of our family, Cheyenne and Mojo. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good stuff.
A lot of common sense stuff on his race car that we didn't know about.
Really, man.
Pulling back the curtain, give us a lot of good stuff to work with, right?
Jeez
Next time we get to call your win there.
That's good stuff.
So what's your relationship like with your dad? In terms of racing, did he race before you did, or were you the one that was racing first? And it's one of those father-son combinations. What's it like? Does he give you more fatherly advice? Does he give you racing advice? What's that relationship like? Because I know Rodney raced with his dad. I didn't get to race with my dad, but I mean, what's that way that your relationship with him over the years?
Yeah, he used to race as well. He did hobby stock, so that's where I started, and we didn't really get to race against each other. I think we did one time, and I'm pretty sure I blew past him on the outside. He probably quit, no, he's always giving me advice, and he's my leader in the team. So following him and his roots is what it's all about. And he's a diehard racing fan, and he wants to make things happen for us as a team. So
yeah. That's what it's all about. So let's talk about, we're into, lastly, a big money season as we talk about here in Texas. I know last year you had a great run at the Clash. I got to call you through everything that you went through right there. It's like boom, 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 just kept going. So which one of these, whether it be Oktoberfest at the Paperclip, the Clash, what are you looking forward to? Heart of Texas? I mean, which one of these are you most looking forward to as we're into big money time here in South Central Texas for you guys?
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to Kennedale, the Super Nationals, and getting to run that. That's pretty special for us since we really don't have a nationals for our class. But yeah, I'll hit all the big races and try and get some redemption and finishing better throughout all of them. So
yeah, absolutely. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we finally got to put this together. By the way, you got a badass looking race car, dude. I love that car.
Green's supposed to be bad luck. What's the green? Green's normally bad luck for people, but you got green all over your car. It ain't bad luck for you, is it?
No, I mean I had green on my first race car and we did really well. So I think it's just a superstition.
Yeah, and I think the coolest part, I mean, when I really thought about this, I was like, so this whole buildup that they were doing for me to race the pure stock, and we got out there and raced, and you stole the show in the limited modified. I'm like, I need to talk to him because I sucked and he did well, so we got to talk to him. So that was the coolest part about all that, man. Coolest part about all that. Thanks for taking the time, dude. Good luck up there. I mean, go live that dream. I mean, go make that happen. That's what it's all about. It's the young dudes like you that get out there and get those opportunities. And we can't wait to see you down here for the big money races coming up, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
You got
I'll
it, man.
See you around.
You bet, man. Take care.
All right, you too.
You got it. Joseph Ponton Jr. Oh, we forgot to say aloha. Shit.
Oh,
damn it.
Oops.
Call him back.
Oops.
Oh, man. I love that. And I've heard that a lot. I mean, with a lot of folks with the Ponton family, is that they're just good folks. And we need that. We need a lot of that in the sport.
Well, we need more. We need more of that. I know he doesn't want to talk about the diversity, but we need that.
We do.
We do need that. Some of it. When you strap in the helmet, is that where you need the diversity? No, not really.
Nope.
You're all racers at that point. But we need the diversity. When he won at Texana and I was down there interviewing him, they're like, "Oh, he's from Hawaii." I was like, "Really?
Yeah.
Hell, that's something I wish I knew ahead of time to talk about." Some of these racers. We like it when they get on the show and they open up about the part about the extra racing family and we get to learn a little bit of the background and stuff. Because I'm pretty positive they're probably the only Hawaiians.
Yeah. And
I would think.
And a big part of that is, I've talked about it on this show before, is to where, I go back to my days at Longhorn when I was racing out there in the street stocks and I worked at a construction company. And, let's take the part that I was, part Hispanic. Let's take that out of there. But what I did, I mean, I would bring 40 Mexican dudes to the crowd that would run the Miller Lite out, and it was just a different audience, and it exposed a lot of people to the sport. And I still talk to a lot of kids of some of those friends that are still race fans, whether it be NASCAR or they go to Cotton Bowl. I mean, there's a lot of them that go to Cotton Bowl.
And we forgot to ask him what part of Hawaii his family's from. We just messed up the whole backside of that interview.
All worried about the stupid racing part.
I know, right? I started asking about green on his race car and all that. We forgot to ask him the important stuff about what portion of Hawaii are they from and all that stuff. I mean, I only remember stuff from Honolulu. So
yeah,
you went to Maui, right?
No, we went to what was it called? Damn, I can't remember. One of the isolated spots. My wife will have to tell me. Damn, I'll look in the break. Speaking of the break, we've got to talk about some people that do really, really good stuff with us on this radio program. Stick around because we're going back to this whole thing, Friendship Speedway, because there's two more points that we have to make. So hang around. There's more coming up. Rodriguez for CRS Suspension. Are you ready to take your racing program into victory lane? Well, if you are, then it's time to call CRS Suspension, the industry leader in handling technology. CRS now solely owned by winning iStock and late model racer Jeffrey Abbey, whose knowledge can do big things for your oval track success. Give CRS Suspension and Fabrication a call today at 325-330-0647 and learn how you can get the shocks and technical guidance that will put you into the winner's circle. You either have CRS shocks under your car or you get outrun by those who do. Choose to win and call CRS Suspension today and follow them on Facebook at CRS Suspension Fabrication.
Have you heard about the latest and greatest technology being built around the DFW area? Generation Race Cars and JL Racing, located in Springtown, Texas, are now offering top-of-the-line, state-of-the-art Southern Sport mods and limited modifieds. Generation Race Cars and JL Racing can provide new cars, turnkey, complete bodies, shock revalving, and chassis updates, along with providing trackside setup guidance and a whole lot more. If you're looking at competing at a whole new level, call 817-528-2947 and ask for Justin today. You can contact them through the JL Racing Facebook page to learn more about Generation Race Cars. You put a ton of effort into your race program. Now take it to victory lane with GRC.
Hey friends, Rodney Rodriguez for your neighborhood auto repair and service shop in Cedar Park and Central Texas. It's Computer Age Automotive. Does not matter, domestic, foreign, hybrid, whatever it is, your auto repair and service. Mr. Gilbert Simmental and his great staff there at Computer Age Automotive, they will be the answer to whatever your problem may be. They've been doing it for 35 years, so that tells you something right there. Check engine light diagnostic, computer reprogramming, computer flashing, computer calibration. Doesn't matter, even the diagnostic stuff, body control systems, engine control systems, power and battery systems. They have the answer for you. ASE certified mechanics. You drive a diesel, they can take care of that for you as well. It's Computer Age Automotive, the Simmentals. Great folks. Hey, they're racing folks, so you know that they can get stuff done. Been doing it for 35 years and still going strong in good old Cedar Park, Texas. It's computerageautomotive.com. Tell them you heard about it right here on the Revved Up Sports Show and Revved Up ATX.
I think there's like a saying where you step on it. That's what I did. I stepped on it, so.
We are back. Hashtag Real Race Talk.
Never going to forget that.
Oh, my God. Great conversation right there. That was at Cotton Bowl Speedway, as a matter of fact. And that's one of the cool things that went viral. That went viral.
It did.
And it happened in Page, Texas. Great.
And he really did step on it because he
really did.
He was fast that night, too, and then just went in the corner.
Yeah, yep.
Stepped right on it and flipped on over.
And the cool part was he was man enough to admit that he did it. And it's okay. I mean, it's really okay. But great conversation, DJ Shaw, as we got the Oxford 250 coming up this weekend, and that is so. Man, I am looking forward to that one. The 49th annual Oxford 250. Over 70 cars entered for that. And the best of the best. That's going to be good. That's going to be so good.
It's going to be a fun race to watch. Hopefully, everybody's got their schedule cleared out. You got a car. Are you going to Mobile? Did you figure that out?
To be determined. We are still trying to get all that figured out. I've got people nudging me to have to do things that may negate that a little bit. Dirty air may get moved around a little bit, but I tell you one damn thing I ain't missing. I will absolutely not miss the huge event that's coming up at Mobile International Speedway, and that is right there. I'm borrowing this from another program. Is the Davidson Electric 125. And that's going to be some super good stuff. $12,500 to win. The second place purse is right up around $3,500 for that. And, man, that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. Is a big return there for Mobile. And I think for Gina, I think that's where it pays off for her, is that to me, that's her snowball. I mean, that is her snowball derby right there.
I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff. If you've never been, you need to go. You not necessarily need to go to it. I mean, that's one thing, but you need to look up the some racing and stuff with it. Maybe we can get our friends at Racing America to put together a little promo package just to show you some of the atmosphere that is Mobile International Speedway. If you're a fan of the old San Antonio Speedway, there's a lot of very good similarities between Mobile and San Antonio. The only difference is there's not a wall that'll eat your car up all the way around the racetrack, just the wall there on the front stretch. But it's a lot of fun. The cars sound like they did in San Antonio. They run like they did in San Antonio. So they, like I said, if you're a fan of San Antonio, you definitely either want to catch that race in person or catch it there on Racing America for sure.
And I think only a lot of the old timers will remember, but Pensacola didn't have a wall.
Yeah.
I mean, that place, I mean, you know, that was
Of course, people ended up in the Pines. That's why they had to put the wall up.
Absolutely. So kind of the same thing right there. And of course, we do got to give some love as well. I mean, Houston, it will be firing off on September 10th. I saw that they posted out there. They're really trying to get some of the super stocks and street stocks and pro stocks, and hell, I can't even begin to think about all the different classes that they're talking about right there. But I mean, reach out to them if you want to get out there and race. I mean, rules, all that. I mean, be a part of that. I mean, make that a good show. You know, I don't. I think there's a lot of folks that think that, you know, maybe there's a divide between the Gulf Coast Racing Series and what they're doing. And I mean, there's not. I mean, it's not. I mean, there is not anybody that wants that to succeed more than Gina and the team there. I mean, because I you know, I get frustrated because I mean, it killed Gina and me and everybody that we couldn't move forward with that plan. And you know, it is what it is. Doesn't matter. September 10th, get to Houston. I think that they have some good stuff in the works.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Same thing. If you can't catch it in person, catch it with our media partners, Race on Texas.
That's right.
See, we promote all of our media partners there. We have fun with them.
They need to promote us.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Back to this. We got to put the capper on this one because these are really important. Back to this Friendship Motor Speedway, why it closed. Here's a good point. Remember, every negative thing you say about a racetrack just makes it more difficult for the track and the racers to get sponsors.
Heard that before. Same thing on message boards.
Guys, why would a business want to give money for their name on your car when they see on Facebook all you're doing is complaining about the track or the other drivers? It's simple. They won't.
No, absolutely not. They don't want their name associated with everything getting dragged in the mud. That's why it's so hard for Kyle Busch to get a sponsor right now.
Yes. When you get on there and you post bad things about all of this that we have talked about tonight, it turns whatever you're doing into a shit show. You can have the best racing. You can have the most entertaining, whatever the hell you deem that you want to call it. But all of this, when you go in there and you're slamming these racetracks and slamming these people right here put a concerted effort together to race this racetrack in North Carolina, for crying out loud.
Well, I mean, it doesn't. The same problems exist at every racetrack, regardless of where it's located.
Yeah. So here's the parting thought on this whole thing, and you guys can go read this. I mean, I'm just sitting here squinting trying to read off my phone. Here's their nutshell. Maybe their expectations were a little too high. If the fans and drivers were expecting to see a race director roll around in the mud for a couple of $100 or some Facebook likes, you were at the wrong place. As we do in other businesses, because these people have businesses and bought this thinking that they were going to make money. That's where they fucked up in the first place.
Yeah. You're not making money at a racetrack. You breaking even, you having a party.
Yeah. We tried to act professionally and wanted everyone who came through the gate at Friendship Motor Speedway to go home feeling proud of the facility and their opportunity to enjoy a good race, whether from the stands or the driver's seat. We anticipated providing a track where our local drivers could showcase their talent and would bring regional recognition to them and ultimately higher payouts. Then they go on to thank everybody that tried, and they quit.
I mean, don't blame them.
They quit. And that's what happens when you beat the promoter up and you beat the series up and you beat everybody up, and eventually they're going to say, it's not
don't want to do it, can't do it. Screw it.
Don't want to do it, and they're going to be done. And that's where throughout this thing, I mean, I want you guys to go back and listen to all of this, because that's where before you hit send, and I think that's the biggest part, before you hit send, think about that.
Before you hit post, if you're going to send something, send a text directly.
Mm-hmm.
Call directly. But if you're going to post something, think about that just a minute. Reread it and then figure out if that's beneficial. It's one thing to rant on Facebook. It's another thing to be productive with your comments on Facebook.
Yeah. And that's where, I can go, and I'll tell you this. I go and I read stuff that every track that I work with posts. And I have a question for everything, whether it be Waco, all of them. I read stuff and I'm like, just leave it alone. I read stuff that we post on Gulf Coast Racing Series and I'm like, I read some of the Houston stuff and I'm like, well, what about, but it ain't my place to ask that.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to know it bad enough, I'm going to call whoever's in charge of whatever place I'm talking about.
That's a good policy to have.
And I think that's what people need to do.
Well, our friend Owen Pittman, when he made the decision to cancel the races, he says, call me. Let's talk about it. There wasn't a lot of negative posts on that because he basically called out the people that were going to be negative about it.
That's right.
By saying, call me. Don't put your shit on here, basically.
Yeah. And the thing about it is what I like about what Owen did when he had to cancel that last race, the one you're talking about, he laid it out right there. And he put it there to where it could be detrimental to the business. And to me, that's where I'm like, boom, that's where it's like right here. Every question that I had, I'm like, was it this? Was it that? When I read detrimental to their business plan, I'm like, okay, it ain't for me to ask. It's something that could really lose their ass.
That's right. And you can't have racetracks continuously, honestly losing their ass.
That's right. That's exactly right. So you guys take that to heart and say that we're preaching and whatever. And we are not singling any one person out. Actually, we are. We're signaling out Friendship Motor Speedway in North Carolina because they were the ones that had the balls to actually post what a lot of promoters really think.
Maybe we should get them on.
I tried, dude. I tried.
They didn't reply?
I tried. They had not replied. I think they were like,
we said our piece. We're done. Peace out.
Yeah, we're done. If you don't understand that, you don't need to talk to us. So, makes sense to me.
I get it.
Makes sense to me. Weekend for you. What's up?
Actually, this weekend, nothing. I cleared it out for the Cowboy stuff, and that didn't pan out, so I don't really have anything else done.
Yeah, it's all good. It is all good. Good stuff tonight. DJ Shaw, Oxford 250 coming up. Joseph Ponton Jr., aloha. Aloha, as they say. Appreciate that. You guys find a local short track. Go out there, support them. Quit bad-mouthing them. Right?
That's part of it.
No doubt.
Watch what you say. Watch what you type.
Back next week, guys. Be good.